So today's topic is arches of the foot. It is a small topic, so we will be done quick with this one. I hope everyone is hearing me clear. Okay, so the foot and the functions of the arches. There are two important functions of the foot: supports the body weight and to work as a lever to propel forward in walking and running. The multiple bones of the foot are arranged in such a manner that it can adapt to any uneven surface. There are multiple bones, 7 bones. It can adapt to every kind of surface. If you're climbing upwards in a mountain or the stairs, the bones try to arrange themselves accordingly. Moreover, the flexors muscles and the small muscles of the foot exert their action on the forefoot, which assists greatly the gastrocnemius and the soleus muscles. So the small muscles of the foot also helps the gastrocnemius and soleus to propel. Now, what are arches? The arches are formed by the tarsal muscles, the tarsals and the metatarsal bones. There are 3 arches present in the foot, which can be divided into medial longitudinal, lateral longitudinal, and the transverse arch. Young children's feet appear flat because the presence of large amount of subcutaneous fats. When you do a wet test, if you put a baby's foot in water and then on the floor, the print will be like this. Here on the side, on the top right, like this. A person's foot imprint while standing will show point of contact to the ground. It will show the heel, the lateral margins of the foot, the heel, lateral margins of the foot, and the pads, mostly the medial metatarsals and the pads of the distal phalanges. So this area. The medial margin from heel to the first metatarsal is above the ground and arched. This area shaded, this is above the ground and it's a concavity or an arch. So what bones are involved in the arch? So in the medial longitudinal arch, which is here, you can see there is the calcaneus, the talus bone, navicular, cuneiforms, and the first 3 medial metatarsals. In the lateral longitudinal arch, you can find calcaneus, cuboid, and the last 2 metatarsals. While in the transverse arch, the bases of the metatarsals bones, the cuboid, and the 3 cuneiform bones. These form the transverse arch. Now, what is the basic mechanism of an arch, or you can say the architecture of an arch? First of all, the shape of the stones. If one is making an arch or a bridge, the first and the foremost thing is to make the shape of the stones. So the most effective way is supporting the arch to make the stones wedged, like in a triangular shape, like this one, with the thin layer lying inferiorly. We can call it the apex inferiorly, This applies to the important stone that occupies the center of the arch, referred to as a keystone. Now, this is the keystone, the most important one. The bones are wedge-shaped, thin edge lying inferiorly, applies to the bones, occupying the center arch called as the keystone. Secondly, the inferior edges of the stones are tight together. This is accomplished by interlocking the stones and binding their lower edges with the metal staples. This counteracts the tendency of lower edges of the stone separate when the arch is weight bearing. Now these are called the staples. These are the binding force of an arch. These connect the stones together. Thirdly, the use of tie beams. When the span of the bridge is large and the foundations at either end are insecure, a tie beam is connected to the ends effectively prevents the separation of the pillars. We can call this a pillar and this one a pillar. These two are connected by a tie beam. This blue shaded area, this is the tie beam. This is an extra support for the arch. And finally, suspension bridge. Here, the maintenance of the arch depends on multiple supports suspending the arch from a cable above the level of the bridge. So you can see the pillars, and there is a sling. This sling is another support of the arch, which helps the arch to be in place. So this is the basic mechanism of an arch, and we are going to apply this on the arches of the foot. Now the medial longitudinal arch, how is it maintained? Now if you see the shape of the bones, we said it has to be a wedged shape or a triangular in shape. The sustentaculum tali holds up the talus. The concave proximal surface of the navicular bone receives the round head of the talus. Here is the talus, and the round bone is received by the navicular. This articulation, okay, and the slight concavity of the proximal surface of the medial cuneiform, which is right next to the navicular. Here, this the whole articulation. The rounded head of the talus is the keystone. You can say the talus is the keystone here in the center of the arch. This is the most important structure. If you remove the talus, there is no arch. So the inferior edges of the bones are tightened together by the plantar ligaments, which are larger and stronger than the dorsal ligaments. Most importantly, the plantar calcaneal navicular ligament and the tendinous extension of the insertion of tibialis posterior muscles, which play an important role. You can see the plantar aponeurosis over here, and the most important one, which holds the talus bone and navicular bones, the plantar calcaneal navicular ligament. This is the most important one. These all hold and tie the arch. So the plantar aponeurosis, medial part of the flexor digitorum brevis, abductor helicis, the flexor helicis longus, yes, medial part of the flexor digitorum longus and the flexor helicis brevis. These all work in action, tying the arch all together and forming the arch. This you can call, this is the arch. Now we said about the sling, the most important structure, which maintains the arc and the arch structure. In the medial longitudinal, the tibialis anterior and posterior and the medial ligament of the ankle joint are the slings of the medial longitudinal arch. Now the lateral longitudinal arch. The same, what bones are involved here? So the calcaneus, cuboid, and the metatarsals. Minimal shaping of the distal end of the calcaneum and proximal end of the cuboid. Cuboid is the keystone. Cuboid here is the keystone. If you remove the cuboid, there will be no arch. You can see the difference here. There are 3 bones involved, while here multiple bones are involved. That's why the lateral arch is a rigid arch. It is more rigid, and the medial arch is flexible and it can move quite a bit and changes shape accordingly to uneven spaces or uneven surfaces. Now, what does the lateral longitudinal arch are tied by? So the long and shorter plantar ligaments are the origin and the origins of the short muscles from the fore part of the foot. So these are the important ligaments which tie the lateral longitudinal arch, the longer plantar and the shorter plantar ligaments. What structures tie the arch together? So there are 2 structures which are important, but there are plantar aponeurosis, abductor digiti minimi, and the lateral part of the flexor digitorum longus and brevis. So you can see here the tendons of the peroneus longus and the peroneus brevis. These muscle tendons tie together the arch of the lateral longitudinal. Suspending the arch from the above are the peroneus longus and brevis tendons. Now the transverse arch. The shape of the bones, as you can see, are triangular or conical. The shape of the bones are marked wedge shapes, the cuneiform and the bases of the metatarsals. This is the cuneiform muscles and the cuboid and the bases of metatarsals which articulate with these bones. So they form the transverse arch. So the transverse arch is tightened by the deep transverse ligaments, the strong plantar ligaments, origin of the plantar muscles from the forepart of the front foot, the dorsal interossei, and the transverse head of the adductor helices. And what structure ties this together? The peroneus longus tendon. Peroneus longus tendon. And suspending the arch from the above are the peroneus longus, peroneus brevis, and tertius on the lateral side, while on the medial side it's the tibialis posterior and the tibialis anterior and posterior, which ties the structure and holds the arch. As you can see, the arch is here formed. These tendons have the pulling effect from both sides, even the medial and the lateral side. Now, what is the clinical relevance here? Pescavus. It is a condition in which the medial longitudinal arch is unduly high. So
हेलो
this,
हेलो
this
सर जी
is GG.
सर تاسو لږ एक्सप्लेन کوم نه پوهیږم
Come zina puri.
سر تاسو لګیا یې تاسو از ریډینګ کوي کنه نو بالکل مونږ ټول چوپ د خلک خبرې نشته مونږ یو مایک اف وزه کما خبرې نشو کولای
Ha.
ثانک
The arch's main functions are to weight distribution at the arches of the foot or body weight support कहीं ठीक शो او تاسو چې walking یا running کوي نو هغه muscles ټول په دې کې involve کیږي کم چې پرون موږ ټاپک کې ویلو کوم flexors دي او extensors دي بره د لګ نه را روان دي ټول tendons راغلي دي په phalanges کې insert شوي دي نو هغه ټول flexion extension کیږي او تاسو body forward propel کیږي ٹھیک شو نو دا بونز داسې ارینج شوي دي چې هغه هر ټایپ اف سرفیس ته اکوموډیټ کیږي دا تاسو وګورئ نو دا وګورئ ملټیپل بونز دي ملټیپل ارټیکولیشنز دي هر ټایپ اف سرفیس باندې دا تاسو یې شي دا کو چرته کې یو بون وي دا به فلټ سرفیس فلټ فوټ وي دا به هر قسم uneven surface ته د نشو اکوموډیټ کېدی دا به ریجډ وو او نه به پروپیلینګ اکشن وو اوس arches دي arches the metatarsals or the tarsal bones نه جوړ شوي the three arches in the foot medial longitudinal lateral longitudinal or transverse arch دا درې وړه یو ځای کار کوي او arch جوړ شوی په فوټ کې په بیبیز کې دا arch نه وي ځکه چې fat content fat pad ورته وایي موږ هغه زیاتې په فوټ کې نو دا arches لا نه جوړ شوي او ایون مسلز لا فل ډیولپ شوي نه وي نو ځکه هغه پولینګ افیکټ د دې مسلز نه وي چې arch سسټین کړي ٹھیک شو ځکه موږ ویټ ټیسټ وایو چې په اوبو کې کې دی او بیا په فلور باندې کې دی نو هغه پرنٹ پریږدي هغه پرنٹ چې کله تاسو وګورئ د فلټ فوټ به داسې پرنٹ فل فوټ پرنٹ به جوړ شوی نارمل فوټ به صرف د هیل the medial pad of the metatarsal or the fat pads of the phalanges دا به ټچ کیږي او the lateral side of the foot lateral margin نور concavity هغه space هغه print نه جوړ شي په فلور باندې نو هغه space cavity چې دا هغه ستاسو arch دی medial arch دی اوس arches د څه نه جوړ شوي دي د درې arches دي نه یو medial arch دی lateral arch دی او transverse arch دی medial arch کې کم bones involved دي چې تاسو ته medial arch جوړیږي نو پرون موږ په فوټ کې کم bones وي calcaneus the biggest of the all بیا talus bone بیا navicular cuneiform او metatarsal نو 1 2 3 4 5 bones په medial longitudinal arch کې یوز کیږي یا they form the medial longitudinal arch multiple articulations نو دا زیات flexible دی ځکه چې زیات articulations دي پکې مطلب زیات movement پکېږي مطلب زیات weight distribution پکېږي مطلب زیات uneven surfaces باندې دې ځان زیات accommodate کولی شي دغه شانتي lateral longitudinal هغه calcaneus cuboid او fourth or fifth metatarsals دي او in the transverse arch three cuneiforms دي these are the medial دلته چې راځي کوم bones او یو cuboid the cuboid or the bases of the metatarsals نو دا کوم curve چې جوړیږي دا ستاسو transverse arch دی دا bones به تاسو یادوي دا arches داسې explain کیږي خو دا به تاسو یادوي د هغې نه پس به تاسو په دې پوهیږئ نو بیسیک میکانیزم څه دی د arch چې څنګه arch جوړیږي د architecture په رولز باندې د انجینیرینګ په رولز باندې نو په هغې کې یو کی سټون کونیکل یا ویچډ شیپ وي څنګه چې په دې سټرکچر کې دا کونیکل ویچ شیپ داسې دی دې ته مین کی سټون وایو موږ ٹھیک شو دې دا inferior layer is thin دا بلندی همیشه او broader aspect بری دویم important feature څه دی چې دا ټول stones به په bridge کې تاسو bind کوئ څنګه نو they are staples دې ته دا red mark چې ما کړي دي دا staples دي which bind the stones the binding stones in the foot are the ligaments of the foot which holds the structure of the arch the third tie beams this is also important to hold the structure of the arch نو څنګه تاسو وګورئ چې دوه طرفونو ته دا pillars دي که دا چېرته کې دا tie beam نه وي نو دا arch structure به راغورځېږي نو د دې دپاره به دا د انجینیرینګ رولز دي چې دلته به تاسو tie beam یوز کوئ نو په فوټ کې هم داسې یو tie beam دي هغه یې دا tendons دلته as an example tendon of flexor hallucis longus of the medial arch دا tie beam دی او بیا اخر کې another important structure is a sling which holds the arch delta blue structure it is the sling کچرته کې دا structure هم نه نو دا arch به راغورځېدی Those maintenance of the medial longitudinal arch د څنګه جوړي او څنګه مینټین کیږي اخر د arch په کم structures جوړ شوی دی ٹھیک شو نو چې وګورئ calcaneus talus navicular cuneiform or metatarsals the first three medial metatarsals دا زموږ medial arch جوړي ٹھیک شو په دې کې کی سټون کوم بیسیک سټرکچر موږ چې اوس وې د انجینیرینګ په لحاظ سره the most important stone چې وته کوي keystone which holds all the structure. نو دلته زموږ سره medial longitudinal arch کې talus ده. This is the keystone. Now structures which tighten together, which holds the arch. Come tendons دي چې هغه به دا structure نیسي چې د curvature of the arch جوړي په ځای چې دغه ligaments یا tear شي یا accident وشي یا polio وشي even نو tendons flexed شي نو بیا هغه arch structure په ځای نی جوړ arch به راغورځېږي flat کېږي به. Plantar ligaments which are larger and stronger than the dorsal ligaments. Dorsal ligaments on the dorsum of the foot, plantar which are on the sole of the foot. No, sole wala ligaments are stronger than the dorsal. The most important is the plantar calcaneonavicular ligament. The calcaneonavicular ligament then. This is the most important structure. ولې ځکه چې دا talus او navicular یو ځای کړي دي ځکه چې دا keystone په ځای باندې دی که چېرته کې دا نوی keystone به راغورځېدو calcaneus به shift کېدو navicular به shift کېدو نو ځکه دا important keystone دی of the arch. Os plantar aponeurosis medial part of the flexor digitorum brevis, abductor helicis, flexor helicis longus, medial part of the flexor digitorum longus and flexor helicis brevis. The tool structures that the leg روان دي راځي او هغه دلته connect کیږي دلته نو دا ټول structures تاسو د medial arch support کوي او دا نیسی که چېرته کې دا دې کټ کیږي نو ستاسو arch structure به خرابېږي flat کیږي به. د څومره پورې چې تاسو ته دا muscles نه یاد تاسو به دې the most important tendons the medial arch او بیا موږ کوم sling چې یادو چې دا ټول in accordance او یا in addition to each other دا ټول یو بل support کوي او arch maintain کوي نو the tibialis anterior and posterior and the medial ligament of the ankle joint the barana دا ورسره in support راځي to make the arch medial longitudinal arch. Now the lateral longitudinal arch padikim keystone the arch is come main basic structure keystone binding units staples pia slings the یو format ته او هغه format په ټول کې use کیږي. Lateral longitudinal arch keystone is the cuboid bone. ठीक शो और पदी की calcaneus cuboid and the lateral two metatarsals involved to form the lateral arch. Sumra chiziyat articulations mean joints. Amra bada flexible joint. Flexible joints मतलब uneven surfaces बाने ज़्यादा कारकोलेशी rigid बने दल्ता 3 joints थी कम दी minimal 3 bones दी नो दा rigid दे दी की दोनों movement निशी किए दे दोनों uneven surfaces बाने the now us lateral longitudinal lateral side of the foot, the subini the short plantar ligament and the longer plantar ligaments. This one is the shorter and the longer calcaneus or cuboids are the calcaneus to the metatarsals. This is the longer and this is the shorter plantar ligament. په دې باندې ټای شوي bind شوي اوس کم structures دي چې هغه bind کوي plantar aponeurosis دي adductor digiti minimi and lateral part of the flexor digitorum longus and brevis او دا کم structures دا خو راځي د بره د leg نه دا ټول یو in continuation دی دا د thighs نه راځي thighs هغه په leg کې insertion کیږي د leg هغه راځي leg هغه په foot کې insertion کیږي the tendons peroneus longus and peroneus brevis the main structures which are suspending from the above which holds the lateral longitudinal arch. What's transverse arch sitting? Transverse arch the sana judi the basis of the metatarsal bones, the cuneiform, three cuneiforms, and the cuboid. The mukhita the metatarsals attached to the transverse section there. Of delta from metatarsal. تاسو وګورئ transverse section او دلته دا arch جوړ شوی دی اوس دا arch په څه باندې مینټین کیږي نو بیا به deep transverse ligaments ٹھیک شو strong plantar ligaments plantar muscles from the fore part of the foot dorsal interossei and transverse head of the adductor hallucis longus. Adductor hallucis muscle. The tool structures the arch maintain kai ya hold kai to remain as an arch. The tool structures involved in the transverse arch. The peroneus longus tendon, this one, razi the legna or lateral side of the arch of the transverse arch tilt insert kigi aga maintain kai from the lateral side. Now from the medial side is the tibialis posterior and anterior tendons of the muscle. The muscles alta pa leg ki originate شوی دي او د leg نه راځي دلته په foot کې insertion کیږي په bone او هغه دا structure maintain کوي د medial side نه دا دي او lateral side نه وګورئ چې دا fibula د tibia د fibula په lateral باندې دا structures peroneus longus brevis and tertius. The structures on the lateral side bani aga pull kai so they can maintain the arch, the transverse arch. What's clinical relevance? Pes cavus or clawfoot. It is in the condition in which the medial longitudinal arch is unduly high. See, a normal arch does the unduly high distance zyati from the plantar to the floor surface, mostly caused by the muscle imbalance as in poliomyelitis. Claw toes are characterized by hyperextension. The toes extend shavily extension towards the floor the taraf ta, and the joints flexion of the distal interphalangeal joints, usually all lateral for toes are involved. یو خاص structure جوړ شوی high foot extension and flexion دې ته pes cavus وایو. اوس pes planus صحیح pes planus هي flat foot. It is a condition in which the medial longitudinal arch is collapsed. مونږ سه چې medial arch چې کله maintain وي نو normal foot دی او هغه مونږ په واټر ټیسټ باندې ګورو نو دا سپیس جوړ شي کنکیویټي جوړ شي په امپرنٹ باندې. اوس کوم چې کوم مونږ وې پس کیوس نو هغه های آرچ دي نو دلته زیات امپرنٹ پاتې شي سپیس زیات او دلته دا ټچ کیږي او په فلیټ فوټ کې ټول فوټ امپرنٹ دي. As a result, the forefoot is displaced laterally and everted. Forefoot chain laterally displaced inversion towards the center of the body flexion there or eversion away from the body. چې کله eversion کیږي دلته ستاسو medial side به لګي د فلور سره. The head of the talus is no longer supported and the body weight forces it downward and medially between the calcaneum and the navicular bone. The keystone چې موږ یاد کړی وو د سپیس ورکینګ او ټالس لاندې راشي. چې ټالس لاندې راغی آرچ خراب شو نه فلات شو. When the deformity persists, the plantar calcaneonavicular and medial ligaments of the ankle joint becomes permanently stretched and bones change its shape. زیات ټایم اخلي ستاسو ankle joint هم خراب شي ټول structures خراب شي. This is caused by congenital and acquired. By birth هم کیدی شي او acquired کله stretches وشي accident tears muscle tears tendon tears هغې دوجې هم کیدی شي. Thank you. This is the end of your lecture.